So my name is Diane, and what inspired these live streams is the inquiries I got from my chapter in Fabulous 50 and Fabulous. So I wrote about the importance of maintaining muscle mass and range of motion as we increase in age. So this is a coming of age story. This is a coming of age story, sort of reverse puberty. And it's an anthology of 20 beautiful, enriching stories, chapters from my sibling authors. And mine, I played it fairly safe, but I really wanted to share something that I thought would be valuable for the world, which is the importance of maintaining muscle mass in the second half of life and range of motion. So you don't just want muscle mass, you want range of motion so that your muscles can be functional and your joints can stay functional and you can enjoy life for a long time. Uh, Last week I read a little bit from the chapter. Let me go ahead and start with that. But I'm here to take questions too. So if anybody puts questions in the chat, or on the live Zoom, the two cameras are side by side. So if you see me looking, I'm going from one camera to the other. Eventually I'll integrate them probably, but right now I'm starting gently. Chapter 15, Navigating Aging with Grace, Strength, and Mobility. You can only be strong in the range of motion you have. Let me see if this shows in the other camera. Not quite. Okay. By Diane Way. That's me. Have you ever noticed that children take long, fluid strides while walking and running, but many adults take shorter steps, mostly just in front of their bodies? This is not inevitable. You can cultivate or recultivate the optimal range of motion and maintain joint health, which is good for joint lubrication. It's good for mobility. It's really good for having choices in life of activities that you can enjoy. So, anyhow, my chapter is about encouraging people to do this. Um, Personally, I do the work of Aaron Mattis, the active, isolated stretching and strengthening work. I have been doing it since 1997, so more than 2 decades. I've worked very closely with him. I'm one of his, he calls me a master teacher. So I also teach continuing education courses for bodywork professionals, coaches, personal trainers, massage therapists, people who help people with their bodies can get credit for taking the course that I teach based on his course. And I've also been assisting him, Aaron Mattis, at his courses for many, 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 many years. He is 80 and retired, deserves it. He's worked so hard his whole life. And I am proud to be the torchbearer for teaching this, especially on the West Coast where I'm located in California. And I do travel to teach. I'm teaching in Colorado in the autumn. There's information on my site and my socials about that 4-day seminar. Imagine 4 days immersed in stretching. Yeah, stretching your bodies, learning how to assist others doing that, and learning how to lead others in that. So whether you're teaching group exercise, training a team, or working one-on-one with clients, or all of the above, it's a great way to be nice to yourself while you're learning these tools to share with your people. Okay, well, since I kind of want to stay close to the camera and seated, I'm going to back up just a little teeny bit. And this stretch is super easy to do. Like, I was also, so I was quoted in the New York Times, um, about, the stretching when it was getting hands-on assisted stretching when it was just getting to be known, like, it kinda launched the whole, like, stretch craze. Um, what do you call that? Chain thing. So I've been doing it decades before that happened. And just before, I know, not the greatest timing, but just before shelter in place, I was interviewed by Fitbit for their stretching while flying article, blog. So there's a lot of things that you can do while traveling, including some you can even do in your airline seat, and certainly others you can do in the seats waiting to get on the plane or standing waiting for your luggage. So let's do a couple of the seated ones. You want to start perched on your sit bones. So you want to literally perch on the front of your sit bones evenly and have your feet flat on the floor. So for YouTube, I'm gonna like, yep, feet are flat on the floor. So I'm even. So my hips are even and squared. Imagine lengthening. I take a big breath in and exhale, and I rotate super gently. Inhale, come back to the center. So my spine is moving kind of like the Queen's wave. So it's a inhale, and I exhale and lengthen. Good. Inhale and exhale. And I'm assisting with just a couple ounces for 1.5 to 2 seconds. So half a set, 5, a respectable number. The first couple tend to just bring fresh blood and oxygen to the tissues. Usually a set of 5, 8, or 10 is what we do for each of the movements. So you're increasing not just range of motion, but you're increasing fluid exchange, blood and lymph, and you're energizing tissues, and you're working very neurologically. So this work is based on Sherrington's law. He won a Nobel Prize for his work almost 100 years ago. So when you engage the muscles that perform one action, the muscles that perform the opposite action are inhibited from firing. That's how our neurology works. So, and then also the short repetitions, although that may be different than what you've thought of for stretching, um, I might suggest that you might have learned stretches, whereas this is stretching. That deserves to be a verb. So let's do the other side. Perch on the sit bones, lengthen your spine, which is also good breathing posture. And exhale and turn. So I'm going to put my hand on the outside of my thigh and reach back. 1, 2. Inhale, come back to the center, and exhale and turn. 1, 2. And this should feel good. No pain, no brain. That's kind of my motto. You can stay inside the bubble of what feels good and just expand that bubble to have all that you want in it. So it's an inhale, I lengthen my spine, and exhale, and I turn. 1, 2. Inhale, and exhale, and what you might find, what you might notice, I hope, is that your range of motion is increasing with each repetition, and your tissues start to feel more alive with each repetition. So 1 set is great, but 2 or 3 sets is even better. So we're going to do 7 repetitions on each side this time. Again, make sure you're perched on your sit bones. Your spine is lengthened to the best of your ability, lengthening out the crown of your head. Big breath in and exhale and turn. 1, 2. Inhale back to the center and exhale. So my assist is just a couple ounces. 1, 2. Inhale through the center and exhale and 1, 2. Inhale through the center and exhale and and I might have lost count, but like straight up through the center, perched on the sit bones, lengthen. One more. Here we go. Inhale and exhale and great. Back to the center. Now make sure your knees are not scissoring. Make sure you're stable in your pelvis. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then exhale and rotate. 1, 2. Good. Inhale and exhale back. One more. Well, I hope that felt great for you. So my philosophy is that if you are respectful of your body, if you're respectful of your neurology, you're respectful of your entire system, it will give to you. You'll make gains, and then you'll be able to increase. And so if you don't push through too much, if you honor and respect your body and your nervous system and the wisdom of your body, then when you ask it to do a little bit more, it will be more willing to do so. So, and that's how active isolated stretching works. It's if on each repetition you increase a degree. Imagine if you do 10 repetitions, that's 10 degrees. And it's painless. It's painless. Your neurology likes it. Your tissues like it. It feels great. It's, yeah, it helps me help a lot of people too. I mean, besides myself, it really helps me help a lot of people. I've worked with Olympians in 6 different sports and other professional athletes in a variety of sports that just don't happen to be in the Olympics. How can I do this? So I tend to think like a mechanic, but a body mechanic. When I was first told that I had a mind like a mechanic, it made 0 sense to me because I was a teen girl and I didn't really care about the workings of a car. So, but I get it now because I think in terms of how bodies work. I can watch someone move, and because I know anatomy, I've had great teachers because I understand anatomy and kinesiology, which is the science of movement, because I understand these things and I have this amazing tool called active isolated stretching. I am very talented at helping people achieve the range of motion that they want for their sport or their life, or to counteract the foibles of their profession or recreation. There's a lot of people who, may work a day job, whether they're a dentist, bending. That's one of the hardest. If you are at a desk, you can raise your monitor, you can set up your keyboard at a proper height. There's a lot you can do. If you're a dentist, I'm sorry, what you're looking at, it's on a face, and it's not very big. And when you start looking at a tooth, it gets even smaller. So there's certain professions that, every profession has their has, some physical challenges, most likely. So even those professions such as gymnastics, where they're constantly moving their bodies in wonderful ways, I mean, they're moving them really hard, and then they need to rest and recover. So active isolated stretching is an amazing tool. It can help with the rest and recovery. It helps because it helps flush the tissues. You will recover faster. Um, Active isolated stretching is a great warm up, because as you warm your tissues, you prepare them for activity. So did you notice that I didn't need to do like jogging in place or sitting on a stationary bicycle for 5 minutes before doing this? Because we are bringing a localized warming to the exact tissues that we're working with. So the first couple repetitions are honestly really about bringing fresh blood and oxygen to the tissues, saying hello to the tissues, preparing them, and we start increasing range of motion a little bit beyond that. That's why, the second half of the set is super important, and set number 2 or 3 is also important. Um, so like I said, so active isolated stretching is a tool. So it's a tool that we can use to increase range of motion. I mean, that's the most common use of stretching, right? Is to increase range of motion. In cases of injury, we tend to use it a little more gently. We're using it as a tool for flushing stressed tissues so that the body can heal, because bodies want to heal. Bodies want to heal. And when we give them what they want, which is fresh blood and oxygen, removal of waste products via the lymph system, when we give them what they want, they heal faster. So, and then also the subheading of my chapter, you can only be strong in a range of motion you have. So I got that from my mentor, Aaron Mattis, and I know that he wants the world to hear it. So that's why it's in the book. But it's true. You can only be strong in the range of motion that you have, and especially my pro athletes. They've all known that. In fact, some of them have come because they've come saying, I feel like I'm getting in my own way. Or after they've worked with me, referred by a teammate or a friend or something, they say, oh, wow, this is what I would have been looking for if I knew to look for it. So because, athletes, especially pro athletes, every little bit of range of motion that they can strengthen into increases their value. It increases their skill, right? That they're putting in the time, they're doing the work, they're putting in the practice. But they can only be strong in the range of motion that they have. So I am the assisting person, I'm the support person to help them achieve a greater range of motion. So, people care about different things. I have people coming because they want to be able to get down on the floor, play with their grandkids, and get back up without worrying about it. Um, I have people coming to me because they work in tech and it requires a lot of sitting. I have people coming to me because they got standing desks, but they don't actually know how to stand well yet. So it's a really common thing. Posture is not something well taught in this society, and that's unfortunate. Some of the most essential things aren't. But anyhow, in case you didn't already know, I have on my channel are 150, as of today, the end of August, 150 free videos. They're short tutorial videos to help you learn stretches for various different things, such as glute stretches. Glute stretches help you be a better athlete if you have to change directions on a court or field, which most sports involve some of that. Or if you have back pain, it's the next door neighbor. Your glutes are the next door neighbor to your back. And if your glutes or your hip flexors, including your psoas and including one of the quadriceps, which is also a hip flexor, if those muscles in that region are tight, it puts stress on your back in a similar way to how poor posture does. So yeah. Anyhow, check out the free content on my on this channel, and don't be shy with your questions. Ah, yes, yes. As I mentioned in the book, I do supplement my healthy diet with creatine because I am past 50 and still fabulous. So I want to maintain strength in my muscles, and I find that the creatine actually helps my brain power too. So we all know exercise is good for us. We all know, oxygenating our brains is super important to help prevent, neurological decline uh, soon. Um, and there's certain when we run out of estrogen, although you can choose to do replacement, as do I. When we run out of estrogen, so there's certain things that could help, such as creatine, and that's. I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to stop there while I'm ahead. Um, Yes, yes. Oh, absolutely. I do strength training. Yes, absolutely. I do strength training. I try to max each muscle or each region or each action at least once a week. I do a variety of things. I love dancing. I love being in the water, but I live in San Francisco and the ocean's kind of cold. Um, so um, some of my friends have pools, and I love teaching water aerobics. So those are options. But I lift weights. I definitely lift weights. I do body weight exercises, and I lift weights. So it's important to have a load. It's important to have a load to keep your muscles strong, to keep your bones strong, and just feel really good. You just feel more powerful when you have been strength training and strengthening throughout your full range of motion, ideally, um, in addition to whatever you need to for your sport or your recreation, uh, or to mitigate the um, actions of your daily life. So, what is? I don't know. Real questions related to fitness or coming of age. Yes, yes, yes. Cheryl, hey. Um, yes. And additionally, I do breathing exercises. Breathing, um, reduced lung capacity, reduced breathing capacity is considered an accepted sign of aging. And but you don't have to take that sitting down. You can train your breathing like you can train everything. I tap into Chuck McGee III, Iced Viking. He offers free Zoom classes, kind of like this. You can find him online. I was reading in James Nestor's Breath that he did classes, that Chuck McGee III does classes every Monday night, and I was like, wait, this is Monday, and his Monday night class is at 9. It was only 7, so I jumped in, and I've been there ever since. It's amazing. Um, yes, I will be back next week. Yes, every Wednesday. So far, just committing to half an hour. All the technology involved in this is a little bit new to me, even though I've taught on Zoom and I had a lot of clients on Zoom in shelter. The whole live stream aspect is a little bit new to me. But hey, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you all next week.